Hi, welcome to RCKicks. On today's show, well, we're checking out this. It's the FTX Apache. Now, it's been out for about 3 months, so I'm a little bit late to the party, but I've been itching to get my hands on this one as I'm a big fan of the FTX Zorro. I've got the brushed and the brushless, and for the money, I was pretty impressed. Now, not everybody has the budget to go out and buy a Traxxas Slash 4-wheel drive, so can you get almost the same features and functions for a little bit less money? So in the series, this is going to be a series, we're going to do an unboxing and a review today, and then we're going to put it up against a Slash. We're also going to put it up against its predecessor, the FTX Zorro brushless, to see is it another step forward for FTX, or did they skimp and it's kind of taken a step back? So that's enough waffle. Let's open it up, take a look at what you get for the money, and take it out for a blast. So let's check out the car and what comes in the box. So you get pretty much everything to get you up and running. You get a transmitter. It's all right, bit plasticky, but it looks the part, so good enough for now. You also get a 3500 LiPo 3S battery. You get a charging case for it, which is nice. It'll get you going, but you're probably going to need something a bit better than that down the line. Also, you get a 2 to 3S charger, English power cable, a converter. I guess they're selling it into Europe. That's how they're doing it, I suppose. Then you get a brown paper bag. Yep. Manual, instructions, gives you everything you need to know, including exploded diagrams. And that's pretty much it. Now the car itself, now there's two colors, there's blue and then there's red. Body is actually really nice. You get some little tiny fire extinguishers, a little bit more detail. I do like the actual body colors that they've gone for. Comes with an LED strip across the front and nicely protected. These I am a big fan of because it's very easy to flip these over, and being able to protect the top of the body is a definite plus point. Especially I've got issues with the Traxxas Slash flipping over. Yeah, and then this happened. And that's a little bit, yeah, there we go. It doesn't have these to protect it, so you seriously wear out the roof really easy. So I do like that for sure. Another thing I'm quite happy with is that the actual pins are tethered. That is a really nice touch, but just be careful, don't yank on this. Pull out the pins like you normally do, otherwise you'll just snap this. Speaking from experience, but I do like them when you're out in the field and you want to take the body off, that you don't lose them. Overall, the look is really nice. Massive bumpers on the back, nothing special there. Standard what you see on pretty much all of these. One thing I do like though, on the front, you've got this kind of little rubber bit on here, so it helps when you're crashing and bashing and trying to keep some of the junk out. The bar itself, I do like that, that's really good. Right, let's get the body off and see what you get underneath. Okay, taking the body off, let's just have a quick look. As you can see, it's backed in silver. Now, one thing I would love to see on all of these is some kind of protection around here and at the back here. Because we get so much movement in the actual suspension, the tyres will rub the paint off of the actual body. So having some kind of film on here that would cost almost nothing would be a nice touch. But these bodies are not expensive at all, which is one of the first things I really like about the FTX stuff, is replacement parts are super cheap. And if you want to get a new body, it's not going to cost you £50 to £60. Right, let's take a look at the actual chassis. So it's a hard plastic chassis, feels very strong. If we flip it over, you can see they've actually put two metal plates to support it, one at the rear and one at the front. This is what I like to see. Now there is obviously a hole here, but you think, oh, it's going to fill up with rocks. That's not actually the case. The idea is that when all the dirt and junk flies up inside, it actually falls out of the hole and doesn't block up the servo for the steering. Oil shocks all round. Yeah, it feels okay. Can't really complain at that. Now, one thing that does concern me a little bit is these arms. They do look really weedy, but until we take it out and give it a good bash, we just don't know. One thing on this one I actually noticed, the thread is straight there, but on this one, it's not actually in right. So what I'll do is I'll take it out to actually make sure that it fits in correctly, as that could end up being a bit of a weak point. Now that's not a design issue, that's actually as this one's been put together, that hasn't been screwed in correctly, so I will fix that before we take it bashing. This plastic cover is kind of nice. You can keep an eye on what's going on inside. Apparently this gets a little bit fragile, so you've got to be careful. Now the electronics in this, it's a 50 amp brushless ESC from Hobbywing, which is a good touch because I'm a big fan of Hobbywing. 50 amps is a bit down on the Zorro, if I remember correctly. We will do a comparison video like I said, but 50 amps, yeah, it's okay. Now the servo itself is a 6K servo. Usually in these they're a bit weedy and a bit slow, but we'll check to find out if they've actually fixed that. But a lot of them don't have the fastest steering in the world. Now the brushless motor, this is a 3652 2500 kV brushless motor. So I don't know how that's going to perform. We'll have to find out. I'm pretty sure, again, that's a step down from the Zorro, so we'll have to see what it's like from a performance point of view later on in the video. Full bearings throughout, metal gear diffs front and rear. Now it's 600 millimeters long, 220 millimeters high, and it has a wheelbase of 325 millimeters. Now one thing I noticed that's kind of strange is the battery actually sits up on its side, and then you have these foam blocks, so you can actually put something quite long and quite high in it. It's only the width of the battery that is going to have to be careful of, or you've got this weird sort of size here, which is again a bit strange. So I'll put a battery in it so you can take a look at how it actually fits, and it's super snug. That fits perfectly well, especially if you're going bashing. You want to make sure the battery stays in as tight as possible. Now I measured it, and really you can't go any wider than 25 centimeters. Lengthways, you've got all the space in the world. I mean, look, these are the actual spaces that go in, so you could have a really long, I'm not sure what battery that would be, but yeah, height wise not an issue either. It's purely the width. From a quality point of view, the actual chassis feels really nice. Super happy with that. The only thing that concerns me really is just how thin these arms are. Now, can they really stand up to much abuse? The ones that kind of make me a little bit concerned, like I said before, is these top arms. They don't look that beefy. So maybe they're going to hold up, but I just don't know. But looking at them versus other cars in the field, they seem a bit weedy. So the receiver is in this nice box, which is good because it keeps all the junk out of it. And being that it's over the front, I don't know if that's a good idea or not, as whether you're going to get more dirt coming in the front or whether more is thrown up by the wheels coming in. Now obviously these have a huge great body on them that's not protected, so you get tons of junk thrown up inside this car. So having a cover over it to protect it helps keep all the junk out of this. The actual prop shaft has a plastic cover on it, so everything is kind of covered to try and keep some of the dirt out. So I removed the plastic cover just to take a look at what's going on inside, and as you can see, it is very fragile looking, so just be careful when you take this off. Tire wise, yeah, they're pretty decent. They're okay, they'll get you going. I wouldn't say they're super soft, but yeah, you'd probably upgrade them down the line once you'd worn these out. Alloy hexes, which is nice to see. Slipper. Now I had a look at the motor mount, and it is sort of attached to a metal plate, but the actual full mount itself is some kind of composite plastic of some sort. Now adjusting your pinion setting looks to be okay, pretty easy. There's just a bolt here and then you would just turn it slightly. If you wanted to put a different pinion in it, it's going to be kind of limiting as you don't have a lot to play with. But I'll have a look and see if there's an upgrade for this. If there is, I'll put it up in the corner here. The slipper itself, I tried to get the slipper to slip, but it was really difficult, so it's really tight at the moment. But access to the motor itself looks pretty easy, and you've got quite a lot of space. So if you can get a different motor mount, you could kind of change around what kind of motor you have in here pretty easily. So I think we've covered pretty much everything. So I've charged up the battery and let's take it out for a bit of a spin. The steering, yeah, it doesn't seem to be that fast. It's definitely noisy. So let's see, how does it go? So let's do a range test just to see what kind of signal strength we get and how far we can push it out. So, right, that's about 100 meters away, so let's see if it can go that far. So there you go, I've lost range. So you're looking at about 100 meters and the range is gone. It's just out of range. If I push the transmitter up in the air, then I get a little bit more range, but that's pretty much what you're looking at. To be fair, you're not really going to be driving a car like this much further than that out. Really, the furthest you're going to be out is when you're going to try and drive towards a ramp to jump it, and that's more than enough. Right, let's just see how fast it is out the box. I have no clue, so let's find out. What's that? 33 miles per hour. I think it is 33. Yep. So out the box, stock 33 miles an hour, and it feels fast enough. If I'm honest with you, it's a little bit coggy. In the grass it cogs a little bit, so it's right at its limit, but when you're driving it on the dirt and the tarmac, it's not a problem. But something, if you're in any kind of grass or anything like that, you might find it might bog down a bit too much for you. So there you go, that's the Apache from FTX. Now, what's my review on it? Do I think you should stay clear of this, or is it something that you should maybe look into? I have to say, yes, I would give this a thumbs up. I don't think you'd be disappointed if you purchased this and just drove it straight out the box. There is some aspects of it that I'd like to see improved if we're moving forward. The servo in these, they always tend to be a little bit sluggish for what you want, and this is no exception. It is okay, especially if you're driving in a big open space. It's just, I'd like to see it be a little bit sharper, a little bit quicker. Actual power it has, I didn't have any issues with the power. 33 mile an hour straight out the box, I think is good enough, especially when you start getting on the gravel and the dirt and sliding the back out. I think you'll find that you'll have lots of enjoyment with it and you won't be wanting for more power. But if you're going to be driving on that grass a little bit, it does cog. Quite a bit, so I wouldn't really be looking at driving on kind of grass that's anything longer than just being cut, basically. So that is something that I would like to see them maybe deal with. It needs to be a fraction better in that area, but once you get on the tarmac and the dirt and the gravel, it's perfectly fine. It handles really well, the back slides out, loads of fun. Suspension, nothing to no issues that I saw at all. The body I really like. I think they did a brilliant job with the body, with the protection, also with the vents in the front and on the rear to help with that parachuting. Now, I didn't do much jumping in this video, but having those extra holes just to free that air, instead of it when you jump up over things, it starts to lift on you, so that was nice. I do like the light bar, as well as the light bar will help protect the body again as well, and it looks really cool. All in all, a good package, but should you put your money into this or the previous FTX version, the Zorro 4-wheel drive? Also, should you just go and spend it on an entry-level Traxxas Slash? Well, in the upcoming video, you'll find out. Thanks very much. Please like and subscribe. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.